The City of Riviera Beach Fire Rescue is committed to providing the highest quality of fire rescue services to the citizens and visitors of this great city. That commitment also includes ensuring the health and safety of our fire personnel. Approximately 2 months ago, we became aware of an employee's concern about possible presence of mold and mildew in city fire stations. Since that time, we've temporarily relocated personnel from fire station number 88 and are in the final stages of renovating it. There is also a total reconstruction planned for that station in the near future. In the scope of work for that station, indoor air quality studies were to be conducted once structural work was to be completed. It was then decided that all stations would be tested and included in the indoor air quality study. Results of the air quality studies ruled out the presence of mold and mildew. However, the study did reveal high concentrations of what was deemed an unknown particulate in the sleeping quarters and front office areas of Station 86 and also the administrative offices at Station 87. Based on this information and with an abundance of caution, all fire personnel have been moved out of station number 86 and control measures have been put in place for fire administration until additional testing can be completed. We anticipate having results of this additional testing within 3 to 4 weeks. In the meantime, we will continue to house staff at a temporary site, and in all instances, when considering relocation of staff, one of our main priorities was avoiding a negative impact on services and response times. Additionally, we are replicating in all fire stations some of the control methods used in the renovation at Station 88, which include professional cleaning services. This will supplement routine cleaning, repair, and maintenance by fire rescue personnel with services through the city's Public Works Department, cleaning of all HVAC systems on a routine basis, and elimination of carpeting within all stations. This is a summary of where we started and with this situation up until where we are today. I will close with this outgoing comment before I take questions. I commend the men and women of Riviera Beach Fire Rescue for their dedicated and continued services, outstanding services that they provide to this community during these difficult and adverse conditions. To the firefighters, again, thank you for protecting the city, and now it's time for us to protect you. With that, I open the floor to questions. Yes.
News Channel 5. I was wondering, so you're saying that 2 stations have been closed?
That's correct.
And then could you also talk about the firefighters that have been tested positive for mold?
I can't speak to anyone's particular situation, clearly because of their privacy and HIPAA, but any concern that is brought to us is being looked at and addressed, and there are very serious concerns that we're looking into.
So are you saying that not a single station has tested positive for mold?
The results that we got back showed that all stations were cleared for the presence of mold and mildew.
Are you able to release the test results, Chief?
I don't have those test results, and at this time right now, they are not public. There is a Florida statute that we're abiding by in regards to releasing those documents, and at this time, no, they are not available to me, nor are they available to the public.
Is this a Riviera Beach issue? Could this kind of pollutant or contamination happen anywhere else?
This is Florida. Yes, we deal with that mold, mildew, different issues, particulates all the time. But as far as where else it may be happening, or I can't speak to that. I can only speak to what we have going on at our stations.
And in terms of the timeline, was the testing at Station 88 done after or before the renovation process started?
This testing at Station 8, all stations were scheduled to be tested at the same time. We did receive a report from a structural engineer that expressed some structural concerns with that station. So due to that report, structural repairs began first to ensure that the building was safe before we would allow anyone to go into that station, including the testing company. So the subsequent 3 stations were tested, and now we've got the renovation work and the structural work taken care of. We're now going to go into Station 88 and have that station tested.
You brought up a good point. This is Florida.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of annual checkups do you have on each of the fire stations? And I'm sure it might be different for the any city buildings, police,
Right.
what does the fire rescue have?
Well, what we're doing now is looking at what we're going to do moving forward. I can't speak to what happened in the past prior to my appointment to chief, but I can tell you that there will be regular HVAC cleanings. There will be regular visual inspections that are going to be conducted, and we're going to make sure that that happens on a regular and routine basis until we get these new stations in place, and even then, wanting to make sure that we continue with that model.
Can you tell us where those firefighters and those engines were relocated to?
Sure. Station 88's crew is maintaining a presence in zone during normal operating hours at a facility at our Public Works complex. At that facility, they maintain a presence in zone to minimize the impacts of response. In the evenings, those crews will they're split off to Station 87 and Station 89. What we've done to ensure and minimize any issues with response is we've made a commitment to upstaff at the cost of overtime to put an additional rescue unit in service on the west side of the city to minimize any response issues. The crews at Station 86, when we received the information Monday evening, that there was an unknown particulate, being that it was unknown, and this decision wasn't taken lightly. There was a lot of meeting with staff, and it was determined we were going to pull them out of the station until the unknown became known. That night, for a 12-hour period, those crews were moved into our Ocean Rescue building, in which they were provided with clean, safe dormitory areas to spend the night. Yesterday, we secured a location at Riviera Beach's Clean and Safe complex on the south end of Singer Island, which is tactically a better response location for them, and they will be operating out of that facility for the near future.
Maybe you say that that extra crew you have, the cost of overtime, any idea how much that's costing, how much longer that'll be necessary?
I don't know, and it will continue until we can get back to a normal response model.
And
Chief, are you moving the engines for Station 86 too, or are they remaining at the station?
The engine and the rescue are both being moved out of the station
To where the firefighters are sleeping?
to where the firefighters are sleeping, so their apparatus is right outside the door with them, ready for response.
Anyone who calls for an emergency, it seems like they shouldn't be expecting anything different than if they called 6 months ago.
Absolutely not. Actually, with additional units on the road, they're probably going to be looking at a better response.
Can you speak about maintenance? I mean, up until now, I know that there have been some concerns with maintenance of the fire department buildings over the years.
Maintenance has been something that we've been chasing. We're obviously dealing with buildings that are old, but any issue that's ever been brought to us, we've tried to address. But again, it's been a constant, work in progress trying to keep these stations up and operational. I think we've done a good job, but in light of these recent concerns and issues, we obviously need to do more.
And you said the air quality test, it was an unknown factor. Can you tell us when we might expect an answer as to what this might be?
So basically, it was a high concentration of unknown particulates. As it was explained to me, it could be dust, it could be dirt, it could be dander, it could be any one of 100 things or a combination of them all. The tests that were done for indoor air quality was solely to identify the presence of mold and mildew. That test wasn't conducted to identify particulate type. We have now began the process of bringing out a company to do the test that will actually determine what those particulates are, in what concentrations, and what actions may or may not need to be taken as a result of those results.
Will that company just be actively investigating every day until they have a result? Do you have an idea what their process may be?
I don't know I can't speak to what their process is. I don't want to speak, out of line in regards to how they conduct testing, but we've asked for a full range of testing. We want all data points. We want as much data as we can so we can determine what the particulates are and the source. Where are they coming from is what's most important to us, and how we can put control measures in place to prevent that from happening or reoccurring.
And is there a timeline of when that might be finished?
We're looking at possibly 3 to 4 weeks. My understanding is it's very difficult in the testing process. They have to order the medium that the test is taken from. That takes time for it to be shipped. It's housed in a clean and controlled environment. Testing's got to be done. Those samples through a chain of custody have to be sent to the laboratory, analysis, reports written, but we are working with the company to try to expedite those test results coming back to us. 3 to 4 weeks is what we've been told as a timeline and when those results will be back.
What's the conversation been like with some of these other firefighters? I mean, this seems like several issues in just short span, structural damage to one building, air quality, concerns in another. Are firefighters concerned at all? What's that conversation been like?
There hasn't been a great deal of conversation. Each one of our firefighters been working in these conditions and understand what's going on. We've had conversations and they understand that we're taking every action possible to ensure their health and safety.
Do you know when, well, first of all, Station 88, are you going to do the advanced testing for particulates in that station or just the mold testing?
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to do the mold testing, which was initially scheduled to be done. And then we're going to determine based on those results, again, if there are high particulate counts, we would need to look at what then subsequent testing. Right now, our main concern is mold and mildew. We're going to start with that testing and then see where that leads us. But I can assure you that before those crews go back into that station, it will be very clean and very safe.
No timeline on that?
No timeline. They're finishing up the renovations as we speak, and then there's going to be some subsequent testing, and then again, ordering the media, it going out for analysis, the reports, so it could possibly be another couple of weeks before those reports come back to us.
Just so I understand this, you don't have the actual air quality test yourself. Did you get a summary that told you there was no?
Yes. Basically, I requested, even though it was not made public, I did request that I be given some information. There was a verbal conversation of the summary, and that's basically what I'm referencing is that summary. I have no information as far as the quantities, the levels, the thresholds, but the summary did express that there was no mold and mildew. But again, unidentified high particulate counts.
In all stations or just the one?
Just Station 86 in the front office area in the dormitories and the administration offices at Station 87.
And that's why that door was sealed?
That's why that door was sealed, because it was presumed that the source was coming from the apparatus bay. Crews are out there, trucks are driving by, leaf blowers are going off, and that door is open 30 or 40 times a day while a lot of this is going on, which could have led to possibly entrainment of these particulates.
Can you just give us a reaction as a fire chief here, as a guy who looks over these other guys, these men and women, to hear that one of their quarters is basically polluted? What will be your initial reaction to that?
I can't, my reaction was I'm glad we are doing something today. We're putting measures in place moving forward to make sure that these issues are addressed. I'm very satisfied with what we've done, and I'm very confident with what we're going to be doing to ensure that our firefighters have a safe environment to work in. And I'm very confident with what we're doing, and I'm very satisfied with the city and city staff and the amount of work that they put in. Please understand, this is a city effort. While it does, deal with fire stations, Ms. Hoskins has been a tremendous leader through all of this. Our public works, our risk department, there's a lot of people involved, even finance, just being able to help us out, getting some of this done. It's been a tremendous effort, and we're very satisfied with the actions we've taken thus far, but we want to stay on this.
Station 88, so as I'm understanding it, the test that has been done was after much of the renovation effort took place, because a lot of it was torn down. I saw some pictures of that station. So the test is basically telling us that there is no mold now. It doesn't tell us if there was mold, because at that station, 8 firefighters tested positive for black mold in their system. So it seems a big coincidence that a
Well,
never was mold present.
there are no test results for Station 88 at this time. There was a structural concern, and the structural report said that there was an imminent danger to occupants and inhabitants of that station due to some structural issues. So no testing was done there. Now, as far as 8 firefighters, our firefighters rotate amongst 4 stations. Those firefighters weren't dedicated to that station. They may have at times been stationed there, but our crews on a shift basis move throughout the city over time at different stations. So I really can't say those or any particular group of firefighters were only at one station for a prolonged period of time. That's not our staffing model.
What was the structural damage you're referring to?
There was some concerns with the trusses. There was some concerns with termites. There was concern with the roofing system as a whole was the biggest concern.
Were you concerned that you found out that your firefighters were bunking in a building that this report said there was imminent danger?
I wouldn't say that I was concerned. I was somewhat relieved that we found out before anything happened. So it was more a sense of relief that, okay, we now know we have an issue. What are we going to do to address that issue? And mind you, I've been working for the city for 17 years. I've worked in these same stations. So for me, it's, you know, I'm glad that we finally have some data where we can move forward and really enhance, you know, these fire stations and provide a better environment for our firefighters.
Has everyone been tested who's been at that station and the other stations?
I can't speak to who hasn't been tested. I don't have a lot of that information. Our risk department is handling that.
At this point, should it be required for all staff to be tested, just in case? Or should it be involuntary?
That'll be a decision that'll have to be made by risk. I know that risk has, you know, put out a memo that if anybody did get tested or had any concerns, you know, to bring those to risk, and each one of their cases would be looked at individually on a case-by-case basis.
For those firefighters who have been sick and missed work, what is your message to them?
I don't only know of one occurrence, and I've had conversations with that individual, and those are conversations that I've had with him. And I just want to make sure that our firefighters are okay. I want to make sure that they are in a good place. That's my main concern right now, is dealing with firefighters as a whole and addressing each individual on a case-by-case, because everybody is different as it relates to this testing, which I'm not even aware of what exactly that testing is. But it's a case-by-case, and you know, I wish them all well, and I want them to know that the city and myself, my staff, is doing everything within our power to make sure that they have a clean and safe environment to work in.
Maybe the city can answer, but what is going down the road, what does it look like as far as testing for particulates in fire stations, police headquarters, police stations, substations, city buildings? Do you have some kind of goal moving forward to what you're going to do to test all these buildings so none of your staff members will become sick?
I only can address that of the fire station and what our immediate concerns and needs are. I know there are plans in place, but I can't speak to those. I'm not involved in the overwhelming, you know, city as a whole. So I would have to defer to that question to city staff.
Or perhaps Ms. Hoskins can answer?
Yes, we are looking at a long-term game plan. Staff will be bringing forward a plan of action as it relates to maintenance of the stations, hiring additional staff, maintenance staff to ensure that the stations and the buildings are clean and kept up to par.
Any other questions?
Do you have a message to the community? I'm addressing your concern for your firefighters, but to the community who might be wondering what's going on with the fire stations and staffing and how.
Absolutely. I want to ensure the community that there is going to be no effects of the services that we have provided and that we will continue to provide. If it calls for upstaffing of personnel, if it calls for additional units on the road, I want you to be assured that we're going to be there when you make that call, and we're going to respond in a timely fashion. Rest assured, Riviera Beach Fire Rescue is on the job.
One last thing, where did you get the extra engine that you said you're putting into service?
Those are our spare units in our reserve fleet that we decided to upstaff based on what we were dealing with.